Welcome back to Match Ready, where we get you caught up on everything Durham Lords. I'm Maddox the Lander, and I'm joined by ATN Skitch. We've got a shorter itinerary today. Only 3 teams played last week.
Our men's rugby team made it all the way to the gold medal, not to mention the fact we have a new team making it into their first event of the season. Let's dive into that one. We're out in Peterborough to start the show, where we welcome the men's curling team to the list of active teams this week with their first Bonspiel of the year at the Trent Invitational. The men's team had 3 games Saturday, starting with the Algoma Thunderbirds. Durham kicked off that one with a bang, stealing 3 points to open. And Algoma took back 3 in the next end, but after that, it was all Durham. The Lords added 4 more points through the middle of the game, and they slammed the door shut with 3 points in the 7th, cruising to a 10-5 victory. Next up were the campus rivals, as the Lords took on the Ontario Tech Ridgebacks. And Durham walked away 2-0 on the day with a 7-3 win. The Ridgebacks had Durham on the ropes through the middle of the game, but the Lords stormed back into that one, and they took 5 points over 3 ends to win after running the Ridgebacks out of rocks in the 8th. Last up was U Ottawa and the GGs, who came in 1-1 after a loss in the game previous to Algoma, and Durham opened the scoring with a steal of 1, and the GGs answered quite aggressively, 5 points in 2 ends as they took a lead they never intended to give up. Final score for that one, 7-4 loss for Durham. And Durham skip Kenyon Myers said the team kept their spirits high throughout the game and has high hopes for the rest of the year.
I'm glad to hear the team's in good spirits. Next up is the University of Toronto's Intercollegiate Bonspiel at the Thornton Curling Club. With that, both men's and women's squads will get their first shot at OCAA level competition on the Saturday. The women's team opens their competitive season with a 9:30 in the morning game against the Algoma Thunderbirds, who are also playing their first game of the year. After that, they face the reigning OCAA silver medalists, the Humber Hawks, at 1:30. The final game of the Spiel for the women's squad is at 4:30 as they take on the TMU Bold. Neither of those teams have played a game heading into this event, so it should be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Men's team is also in action in Thornhill as they take on TMU at 9:30 in the morning. TMU participated in the Trent Invitational as well, though they went 0-3. After that, the Lords will face the host, Toronto Varsity Blues, who went 4-2 at the Guelph Invitational a couple weeks ago. And to wrap up the day, it's an OCAA showdown as the Lords face the Mohawk Mountaineers, the reigning 4-peat OCAA champions. Mohawk also capped off their year with a CCAA national championship win last year. Last time these teams met was in the OCAA championship round robin, where Mohawk won 6-3, although both those teams have seen big overhauls since then.
Durham took command last Tuesday with a 58-35 victory over St. Lawrence in the women's basketball game, and they did that by dominating every phase of the game. The first quarter, both teams settled in slowly. St. Lawrence grabbed 10 early points, but Durham stayed right with them, pushing the pace and matching with 9 of their own to keep things tight. In the second quarter, that's where the Lords completely flipped the script. Durham exploded for a massive 27-point quarter, which was their biggest of the night. They were flying in transition, hitting shots from deep and forcing turnovers that turned into an instant offense. That run blew the game wide open and put the Surge on their heels. Coming out of halftime, the third quarter was all about control. Durham added 16 more points, keeping their foot on the gas while the defense locked in again, holding St. Lawrence to just 10. Every possession had purpose, and the lead continued to stretch. The fourth quarter slowed down, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Lords closed it out professionally, managing the clock and staying disciplined, cruising to the finish line for a convincing win.
And the individual performances were massive. Sarah Jane Laplante led the team with 22 points, shooting 9 for 18 and knocking down 3 triples. Kathy Orellana followed up with 10 points and 3 steals, pushing the tempo throughout the game. And Talia Campbell contributed a balanced night with 7 points and 3 assists, while Aisha Lewis grabbed 6 boards and finished efficiently around the rim. Off the bench, Beatrice Johnson pulled down a team-high 9 rebounds, giving Durham second-chance opportunities and toughness inside.
From the explosive second quarter to the lockdown defense and standout stat lines, the Lords controlled this one from end to end, and it was an impressive win over the Surge. Shifting gears to the men's basketball team, Durham delivered a statement performance again against St. Lawrence, rolling to a dominant 83-54 win over St. Lawrence. And from the opening tip, this one had a clear direction. In the first quarter, the Lords came out blazing. They erupted for 24 points, attacking the rim, pushing the pace, and knocking down shots from deep. On the defensive end, they completely smothered the Surge, holding them to just 5 points of one of their lowest opening frames of the season. Durham set the tone early, and they never looked back. In the second quarter, the offense stayed consistent. Durham added 17 more, continuing to punish turnovers and control the glass. But St. Lawrence managed 11, meaning the momentum belonged entirely to the green and gold. The ball movement was crisp, spacing was clean, and Durham dictated every possession. In the third quarter, they kept the pressure rolling, dropping another 21 points, mixing strong drives in the paint with confident perimeter shooting. St. Lawrence put up 18, but Durham answered every run using tempo and physicality to maintain a comfortable double-digit cushion. By then, the lead was stretching and the Surge were running out of answers. In the fourth quarter, that's where the Lords placed the exclamation point. Durham closed it out with another 21-point burst, pushing the advantage and finishing the night with authority. The transition game clicked, the defense forced mistakes, and the bench contributed quality minutes. At one point, Durham's lead ballooned to 40 points, just a sign of how in control they were. You know what? The individual stat lines backed it all up, didn't they, Etienne?
Absolutely. Caleb Carter led the way with 17 points, hitting 4 triples and igniting the offense early. Jay-Sean Elliott was everywhere, piling up 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, filling every column on the stat sheet. Rashane Smith added 14 points and 8 rebounds, finishing strong around the rim, while John Deo chipped in 12 points, 6 boards, and 4 steals, having impacts on both ends of play.
You know, my favorite guy to watch was Deshaun Spencer, who posted a massive 12-point, 13-rebound double-double, dominating the game at both ends of the floor. With 36 points in the paint and 31 points off turnovers, suffocating defense never let up. The Lords owned this matchup from start to finish, which was an all-around explosive performance. Our basketball teams each play one more game before the holiday break. Tomorrow against Loyalist here in Oshawa, the women play at 6 and the men at 8.
And welcome everyone to the gold medal match highlight feature for the show. The Lords walked into this one feeling confident after a 40-15 domination against the Conestoga Condors a week prior. And Humber entered the match coming off a 15-12 win over the Georgian Grizzlies. Humber had a target on their backs heading into this, as these two schools share a huge rivalry as they tend to come against each other quite often.
The weather was pretty bad that day too, which made for quite an exciting match.
Trust me, commentating in a borderline hailstorm wasn't fun, let alone the fact that the snow and wind just about killed the entire commentary and streaming setup. And getting back to it though, Durham opened the scoring early with a quick try to take the lead, but Humber wasn't far behind. From there, the momentum swung early in Humber's favor. They dominated the forward matchup and played a more physical game, which wore the Lords down. Humber took the lead in the 70th minute, and that try ripped the wind straight out of Durham's sails. The Hawks then cruised through the final 10 minutes to claim their spot as back-to-back OCAA champions. And that wrapped up the season for men's rugby.
Walking away with a silver medal is still a really strong finish for the Lords. You know, that they had a great season, and you can absolutely be proud of a silver medal.
Absolutely. Durham may be losing a few key players in the offseason, so we'll see how recruiting treats the green and gold. And that wraps up another action-packed week for Durham varsity. On the ice, men's curling made their debut, joining the active teams and showing promise in their first competition of the season.
On the court, the men's basketball team dominated with an 83-54 win, while the women's team celebrated their first win of the season, 58-35. And the men's rugby team finished their season strong, walking away with an OCAA silver medal after a hard-fought gold medal match. Our men's and women's volleyball teams both play 2 matches this week. They're off to Peterborough on Wednesday to face the Fleming Phoenix. Then they're back in Oshawa to host the St. Lawrence Surge on Saturday.
And it's an exciting time for Durham sports, and we can't wait to see what these teams do next. Thank you for tuning in this week, and make sure to join us again to make sure you're match ready.
On the way. Yeah, on the way. I'm on the way. I'm on the way.